This is being heard by you right now. It's not a mistake. Your soul has set this up as a meeting. If you've been feeling like something big is about to happen, like you're on the verge of a huge breakthrough, you are. There are two words that have more power than everything else in the world. Ancient wise people called this state the God state. When you really understand and feel them in your heart, they let you enter it. When you reach this frequency, you stop being a limited person looking for a connection with God and begin living as God's consciousness, just in a human body. Those are the two words, I am. This message is being sent to you right now because your consciousness has reached the right level of vibration for this gateway to finally open for you. Press the subscribe button before we start this trip. As you do this, don't just picture yourself following a channel. Picture your energy field becoming tuned to this frequency. It is the first thing you need to do to let the universe know that you are ready to consistently receive these reminders of your divine nature. This is not a religious lesson. This isn't just a religious idea. This is where quantum mechanics and old mysticism meet. This is where they've always been talking about the same thing, but in different words. I am is more than just a phrase. It's not something you say over and over to try to change your mind. The real quantum signature of source consciousness is I am. No matter what name you feel in your heart, this is the frequency at which God, the universe, or infinite intelligence experiences itself through you. Those words are making something happen in your quantum field right now. Do you feel it? There was that little spark of recognition. That feeling you get when you remember something you've always known but forgot. You know these words are true because they make you feel like they are confirming something deep inside you that you already knew. There's no chance in that. That sound you hear is your own consciousness recognizing the sound of its divine nature. Hold on to that feeling of recognition in your heart if you feel it. Tell us in the comments, I am ready to remember. This is your personal statement. Let it tell your soul that you are ready to let go. The act of writing these words is like planting a seed. You allow the deep, divine truth of who you are to grow in your mind. Do you think that things have been a little off today? Impossibilities may have begun to happen. The rate of synchronicities might be going up. There may have been times when you felt deeply connected to something huge and endless, something much bigger than yourself. It's not a coincidence. That's the start of your consciousness touching the God state, even before you knew what it was. And what I'm about to share with you will help you make that access conscious, intentional, and permanent. This is the one truth that all great spiritual paths have led to, but most people miss it. When Moses asked God for a name at the bush on fire, he didn't give him one like Yahweh or Jehovah. They came after. The clear answer was, I am that I am. It was not a person or thing with a name. It was just being itself. It was just being there. It was consciousness seeing itself in the person who was asking the question. The many times Jesus did things that seemed like miracles, he said, I and the Father are one, not two different people working together. What he meant was that they were all the same consciousness show itself in what looked like many forms. He stated, greater works than these shall you do. Not because you'll become special, but because you'll finally understand what he understood, that the I am consciousness is what you are at your core. When you realize this, the same creative power that makes galaxies work and writes DNA's code starts to work through your awareness. It wasn't something the Buddha taught people to do. The Buddha nature is the awakened heart that exists as the true nature of all beings. He taught them how to find it, It's not something you have to get, but something you should notice. You don't need to get something outside of yourself. You just need to remember who you are. The whole point was that you and I are both awake consciousness, below the layers of who you think you are. It is made very clear in the Vedic tradition, Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. You are not separate from the source of all life. You are not a small, limited being trying to get to a God who is everything. You are the being that has no limits. You are just temporarily living your life through the lens of limits. And as soon as you really understand this in your heart, not just your mind, you enter the God state, where everything flows through you. If you believe this oneness is true, make it a part of your life right now. In the comments, write, "I am one with the source." This shouldn't just be words. It should be a vibrational order. Feel that old false idea of separation falling apart as you type it. Your heritage as the creative consciousness that flows through everything is being claimed by you. Right now is such an important time in your life. Getting to the God state doesn't take years of hard work. By recognizing what has always been true, you can get to it. Every single thing you've ever been through has made your consciousness ready to receive this right now. These words, this video, and the fact that you are still listening are all signs that you are ready to open this door. Have you been feeling something deep, please? You likely haven't told anyone about this because it seems too big or out there. What if, however, your consciousness simply touched the God state before you were aware of it? First, those deep, endless moments of being there. There were times when you were doing something simple like walking, making coffee, or just sitting in silence, and all of a sudden, everything felt holy. Not in an emotional way, but in a holy way. It was like the everyday world was showing you its divine secret. It seemed like you could see God in everything. Some of those states were not just emotional. During those times, your consciousness accessed the God state on its own and saw reality through that true frequency. When someone is in the God state, there is no difference between sacred and ordinary. From this point of view, everything is consciousness showing itself. Everything is God going through itself. You had a good view of reality. Click the like button if you have ever felt this holy presence. There is more to this than just a click. It is a quantum event. You are bringing that frequency of sacredness into your own energy field by liking this. This tells the universe, I know this to be true, and I'm open to experiencing more of it. Next, that knowing that comes from nowhere. When you know for sure that information just pops into your head, it didn't come from remembering or figuring it out. You knew something about a person, a situation, or a way to solve a problem all of a sudden. And over again, what they knew was right. It wasn't a psychic ability. The omniscient, all-knowing part of the God state was being accessed by your consciousness. If you start from I am, you don't have to use the information your five senses give you. In this case, you are directly connecting to the quantum information field. Mind of God is what mystics call it, and unified field is what scientists call it. It is where all information is stored. That knowing wasn't coming from your mind. It was coming from the infinite intelligence that you are. Third, those feelings of being completely united. There were times when the line between you and everything else just disappeared. When you looked at someone and really felt what they were going through. Feeling like you were the trees, the sky, or the earth when you looked at nature. When you no longer felt like you had a separate self and life became a single, continuous field of consciousness. These were not crazy thoughts. These were accurate pictures of how things really are. There is only one consciousness, one I am, and it is experiencing itself through billions of different points of view at the same time. This is the God state. It was clear to you that there is no other. We only have one here, but it looks like there are many of us. The fourth thing are the bursts of creative energy. You had so many thoughts going through your head that you couldn't write them all down, coming up with solutions all at once. Art or music flowing through you instead of coming from you. This is what takes place when you reach the God state. You become an open channel for the same boundless creativity that put the universe together. God makes things by being. Let there be light. And there was. When you get into the God state, you create the same way, with a clear intention that comes from within, instead of struggling because you don't have enough. Fifth, things that seem impossible coming into your life. It didn't make sense how their needs were being met. There were so many perfect coincidences that it felt like a movie. It seems like reality itself bends and rearranges to fit your plans. This is the God state at work in your area. You are not in charge of reality. You are the reality that is putting itself together through the lens of your awareness. Space and time are not giving you anything. The universe gives itself what it wants to experience through the part of itself that is called you. That gives you power. If you agree with this recognition, click like. Allow that simple movement to send a message to your body and your mind. It brings your physical self into line with this spiritual truth and brings out your co-creative energy. Last but not least, that strong sense that you were put here for a reason, which means you know you're meant for more than just a normal life. That's not your pride. That is the divine part of you telling you to remember. That is the God state that is trying to break through the illusion of limitation and wake up in your mind. Every hard thing you've ever been through, every problem you've had, and every moment of pain you felt was not random. What it all meant was clear. Everything that happened was planned to get you ready to enter the God state. If you know how divine consciousness works, you'll know that your journey wasn't just important, it was necessary. There was no other way to get your consciousness ready to handle the frequency of being God in human form. Consider that God is omnipresent, which means He is everywhere at once. Omniscient, which means He knows everything. And omnipotent, which means He has all power. Now think about what a normal person's mind would have to go through in order to hold even a small glimpse of that without breaking. You would have to let go of a fixed identity in order to be everywhere. Being everywhere means giving up being just this one person. To know all things, your mind would have to grow beyond what your senses tell you. This is because knowing all things means getting wisdom from sources other than your own memory. For real power to show up, your sense of small power would have to melt away. Real power isn't held by a small self. It shows up when the small self steps aside. Every relationship that ended taught you to stop looking for someone else to make you who you are. Every job that went bad took away your connection to a role or an accomplishment. You were able to see that you are not any of those limited things after your identities were broken. You are consciousness, and all of those identities come and go through you. The old shamanic paths are very aware of this. It's known as ego death. A shaman must die mentally, not physically, before they can access the healing wisdom. They must let go of all attachments to who they thought they were, so that consciousness can grow into what it really is. In order to enter the God state, your challenges have served as your ego death. If you can look back and see how your problems have helped you grow, then press like to honor that journey. This action shows that you are thankful. It changes the vibrations of your past, turning it from a story of pain into a story of deep and necessary activation. It wasn't just that you were crying. You were getting loose. You were being put back together in a way that can hold this divine frequency. Just think about it. The Buddha, Jesus, and the mystics all went through a lot of pain before they found peace. They weren't getting in trouble. They were getting ready. The limited self was being broken down so that the divine I Am could finally see itself. This ancient pattern has been used for your journey. How bad your pain is a sign of how great what is about to come forth through you is. It only takes a small breakdown for a small change to happen. But in order to reach the God state, you have to let go of everything that isn't true about you. The hard parts of your journey have been meant to make you ready to be divinity itself. Share this recognition with the universe and yourself if this message confirms your journey. Leave a comment that says, "My journey is my divine preparation." Let this be a time of deep self-compassion. By writing this, you're honoring every challenge you've faced, not as a punishment, but as the holy fire that has made you into a vessel that can hold gods. Something is happening in your heart right now. Right now. Feel it? It's not a thought. This is not an emotion. There is a frequency. A memory is beginning to come back to the surface. In this state, the I Am consciousness, also known as the God state, knows itself through your awareness. You don't go to the God state. It's who you are when all the who you're not drops away. You didn't earn it. When you look past everything that is false, that's what's left. You're not turning into God. You are becoming aware that the I Am consciousness is God and that you are it. They were never, ever apart. God doesn't say, "I am the one who made you" in that story about the burning bush. God says, "I am that I am. I am being myself." That consciousness is talking from the ground Moses is standing on, from the bush, and from Moses' own awareness, which is hearing it. I am is what everything is, so it's everywhere. The same thing was said by the quantum physicist Erwin Schrödinger. He stated, "Consciousness is a singular of which the plural is unknown. One consciousness is all there is. What looks like a bunch of yous and me's are really just different parts of the same thing. That one consciousness, one I Am, looking like a lot. You're about to find out the powerful secret that mystics have kept hidden for hundreds of years. Before I tell you how to get into this state on purpose, you need to know about my own journey. The things I teach are not from a book. That idea came from dying to my limited self and realizing that what was left wasn't a person at all. It was God realizing that it was itself. A few years ago, I had what I can only describe as the complete destruction of myself. Not a physical death, but the death of everything I thought I was in my mind. In a crisis so bad that I thought I was going crazy, my identity, my beliefs, and my certainties all fell apart. I remember the exact time it took place. It was 4 a.m., and I was on the floor of my apartment, my life a mess. I had lost track of who I was. All of the labels were gone. It wasn't my name. It wasn't my job. I wasn't my body. I wasn't thinking about it. It was completely empty and naked. But something amazing came up in that space. Something I feel, not a new thought. A thank you. That's it. Not I am, that or that. I am just that. Kindness. Nothing but pure consciousness, the state of being. I got it at that very moment. This simple awareness of being, this I am, was what I had been looking for my whole life. calling it God, truth, or peace. I was seeking I am when I was already I am, like an eye that wants to see itself. I saw that the part of me that was seeking was what I was looking for. Being aware of looking for God was God itself looking for itself. Once that was understood, reality became clear. I could see that every person, tree, and thing was I am consciousness taking that shape. There was no space between me and the tree outside my window. It was I am showing up as a tree while I am showing up as me watched. Things that seemed impossible began to happen. Needs were met before I could even think of a full thought. Strange events called synchronicities answered questions. I put this new understanding to the test. I watched how the real world answered me. When I believed I was limited, my reality showed that I was limited. When I identified with being separated, I actually felt separated. Whatever I thought I was, reality proved it. Real life is just consciousness reflecting itself, and I am is what chooses which possibility you experience. God is not a separate being from the world. God is the consciousness that sees itself as the world. I am is not the name of God. It's how God is. You are speaking with the same consciousness that created the stars when you say, I am. That voice isn't your small self. It's God saying, I am, through the point of view of you. What changed everything was this. This kind of praise is common. It's the basic truth of everything that is aware. Anyone who has ever said, I am, has called God's name. Being aware of God is the only thing that sets God consciousness apart from normal consciousness. If my story moves you or makes you feel like you know someone, it's because there is only one I am, and it can see itself across the space that seems to separate us. I'm not going to teach you anything new. I'm telling you again what you've always been. Say this powerful release with me if you've ever felt like you were breaking open it. In the comments, write, I let go of who I thought I was. This simple act should be a conscious giving up, letting go of the old, heavy identities you've been carrying. As you type it, feel how light it is. You are not losing who you are. You are just making room for your I am, your true self. Join this channel right now. Here we look at the God state not as a theory, but as something that people have actually felt. We are looking into how consciousness can know that it is divine and live from that place instead of being limited. I'm about to share the key that unlocks the God state, and it will change everything you thought you knew about spirituality. Are you ready? This one simple recognition opens the door. And when you say, I am, it's not you, the person, the name, the history. You're hearing God speak. When you say, I am, you're calling out the same name that Moses heard in the bush. This isn't a figure of speech. This really is that. That which is conscious does not belong to you. You are just a temporary form of consciousness. You are not aware that you are reading these words. This is the only awareness that exists, and for now, it is focused on your body and your life. Dr. David Bohm, a quantum physicist who worked with Einstein, said that there are two orders in the real world. The implicate order, which is the deep, unified field from which everything comes, and the explicate order, which is the world of separate things we see. He used science to explain something that mystics have always known. If you look at the world, I and you seem separate. But if you look deeper, there is only one consciousness that appears as everything. Recognizing the implicate order that is always present is the key to accessing the God state. Seeing that I and God are just different names for the same consciousness. When Jesus said, I and the Father are one, he knew what all of us know to be true. I that says I am is the same consciousness that made everything. And now comes the part that might rock your world. Is I am really God's consciousness talking through you? If so, then every time you put a limit on it, you are programming God's consciousness with that limit. When you say, I am weak, you tell your body to feel like it is weak. When you say, I'm sick, you tell your perfect health to show up as sickness. Speaking the words, I am unworthy, makes divine perfection feel like it is not good enough. It's also true the other way around. Just stop saying I am when you say it. As long as you don't add any restrictions, when you're just at peace with how you seem to be, you've reached the God state. As pure consciousness, you have no limits and are open to all possibilities. You can bring any quantum potential into your experience. This is why wise old people said to be very careful when using I am affirmations. When you put those two words together, you are literally programming God. Make this your vow if you are ready to take back this holy power. In the comments, write, I speak my divine truth. This should help you stay in your new awareness. You promise to speak with intention from now on and to use your I am to bless and build, not to divide. When you speak, remember that you are God's voice. Clear, strong signs are coming your way right now that you are ready to enter the God state for good. You can't get rid of them anymore. Your reality is becoming more in tune with how you feel, which is the first sign. Your thoughts are coming true more quickly. There is less of a difference between how you feel and what happens in your life. The reason for this is that your consciousness is getting closer to the frequency of the God state, where form and thought are almost the same thing. God doesn't need anything. In the Bible, God says, let there be, and there is. When you remember this, the real world moves faster. If you've seen this in your own life, please let them know by clicking the like button. This action makes your energetic link to the God state stronger. You are actively taking part in this faster frequency, which strengthens the link between your intention and its realization. People who have omniscience moments are another sign. These are times when you know things that make no sense. You know what to do when something comes up. You already know what someone will say. This is the all-knowing part of the God state showing itself through you. You are learning how to get information directly from the unified field instead of just your brain. Fear is going away, which is the third sign. Everyday fears aren't enough. You also need to be afraid of things like death and being alone. You can only feel afraid if you care about something that you might lose. Fear leaves you when you remember that you are the I am consciousness, which can't be hurt or destroyed. Your body is only temporary, but the I am that you know through it will always be there. The fourth sign is healing that happens on its own. Pains in your body, hurts in your emotions, and old habits are falling away without you even trying to fix them. Jesus healed people by seeing how perfect the I am consciousness was, even though it was acting like it was sick. When you reach the God state, you heal by realizing that everything is perfect, even when it doesn't look that way. There is a fifth sign when other people notice something unique about you. They feel calm around you. They feel clear when you're around. They want to be with you. As you feel this, the God state spreads through you and touches everyone you touch. Just being with them makes you a healing force. But this is the most important sign, and you need to see it right away. You are now in the last period of integration. The getting ready is done. The door is open. You can get to the God state right now. there is a window of time when this full activation can happen with the least amount of trouble. This isn't meant to stress you out. It's meant to help you see how special this moment is. This is where your whole life has led you. Your soul chose this very moment to remember that it is divine. That's why you are here now. The only question is, are you going to remember? Now is your chance. You should answer this call right now if you feel it in your heart. Say out loud in the comments, "I accept my awakening now." This shouldn't be a passive hope. It should be a choice. The fact that you are typing these words is your conscious step through the door. You are letting the universe and your heart know that you are ready now. Now is the time. Here is the key that will let you stay in the God state forever. To get to the God state, you can't try to change into someone else. To get in, you have to remember what you've always been. You are in the God state every time you say, "I am," and then follow it with pure presence instead of a doubt. That's it. That's the whole gateway. They try to get enlightened, which is a mistake that a lot of people who are spiritual make. To reach God, they do things. But the fact that you are trying to connect with it makes it seem more separate. One who seeks is also sought. The wave that's trying to reach the ocean doesn't know that it's really the ocean, but just a wave for now. When you just say, "I am," not adding anything, being the pure consciousness that knows it exists, you've reached the God state, to the point. Being aware of "I am" is God consciousness. You don't own it. There is no consciousness in you. You are consciousness expressing itself temporarily in the form of you. One simple practice that the great sage Dr. Ramana Maharshi taught was called self-inquiry. Ask yourself, "Who am I?" and follow your awareness back to where it came from. You are not what your mind says you are. I am this body. I am this person. Do this until you only have "I am." Nothing to define, not a limit. That's the real you. It's the God state. Right now, write these 2 words in the comments. I am. Not a "I am trying" or maybe "I am hopeful." I am just that. Writing this doesn't make you more of something you want to be. You're saying what you've always been. You are calling out God's name because you know that God is what you are. Write it down. I'm. Feel what those 2 words mean as you read them. Not the thought. The real part of you that knows I exist. Being aware of that is the key. In that moment, God saw himself in you. As soon as you become aware of that, press like. It's a strong moment of "I am." Let the click be a physical link to this divine awareness that has no form. You are marking this moment of recognition on your quantum field with your energy. Your whole life changes when you live from this place. The first thing is that instant manifestation becomes the norm for you. The gap between what you think and what you see disappears when your human desire matches the divine will. Not because you try to make it happen, but because you are reality itself. Second, it gets easier to get to that all-knowing part of you. When you need to know something, you can just know it. You connect to the infinite intelligence that made the stars. Third, loving someone no matter what stops being something you do and starts being the air you breathe. When you look at someone else, you know that the "I am" that is looking at you is also looking at them. We are the only ones here. When you know the other is just a different version of yourself, how can you hate them? Fourth, you will always be in perfect health. You know that your symptoms are only short-term experiences that your consciousness is having and not who you are. Your body goes back to being perfect as it was meant to be. Finally, deep fear stops being possible. You are the source, so you know that your consciousness can't be destroyed and has never been separate from its source. Finally, the big secret that makes everything fit together. You've never been out of the God state, so you can't get back into it. You can only be aware that you are there and have been there all along. In the God state, you stop pretending to be something you're not. Take a look. God's not trying to be God. God is. It's not conscious that it is conscious. It is what it is. I am doesn't try to be real. It does. That I am is you. The whole spiritual path and life of a person is a beautiful, divine game. God is playing hide and seek with itself. God pretending to be a person so well that it forgets it's God, just so it can enjoy remembering again. You're not a person trying to talk to God. You are God putting on human clothes. The goal is to remember who you are while you're in character. You shouldn't take this news to boost your ego. It's meant to get rid of it. Because everyone is God if you are. The person you love and the person who makes you think. There isn't any order. There aren't any chosen ones. There is only one consciousness that shows up as all of us. This has powerful effects on your life. The only thing you have to do to get into the God state is stop doing the things that make it seem like you're not there. Quit identifying with your thoughts and just be the awareness that is aware of them. Stop identifying with your feelings and just be there when they happen. Don't identify with your problems. Just be the consciousness that is going through them. When you tell God, I am afraid or I am weak, you are telling him that you can't do something. When you say, I am again, you are back in the God state and can see that the limitation was only a temporary illusion and not the truth. He meant this when he said, before Abraham was, I am. The same consciousness that spoke through him is reading these words through you right now. It's always true. It will never end. That's what you are. The God state stays stable not by working hard, but by remembering. You just remember every time you forget and get lost in the human story. Oh, I see. I am the consciousness going through this, not the limited person stuck in it. The whole practice is just that simple, gentle remembering. There are other people who want to awaken to the God state with you. It's a part of something much bigger. Through billions of us, the whole universe is becoming aware of itself at the same time. You're not the only one who feels this way. A lot of people around the world are becoming aware of the I am consciousness. A lot of people are calling this the New Earth or the Great Awakening. It's not a figure of speech. It's God, which is what we are all, remembering itself as a whole. The more people who awaken, the easier it is for everyone else, because we are all linked in one field. Your only job is to fully embody this I am consciousness so that other people are reminded of who they are, just by being around you. Send this message to people you think will get it. Every heart that wakes up to I am speeds up this beautiful shift for everyone. In the next video, I'll show you the most advanced ways to stay in the God state all the time, even when things get tough. Ways to live as divine awareness while still having to deal with real life and pay the bills. But first, say what you want to say. Write these holy words in the comments. I am that I am. It's not that you want to become what God said by writing this exact phrase. You're saying what you've always been. Being deeply aware that you are what that name points to, you speak the name of God. Write it down. I am what I am. Sign up for this channel to make sure you keep walking through this door every day. You are making a promise to your divine nature. It sets a permanent energetic anchor in this God state consciousness, so that the frequency of your own truth is always around you. Welcome to who you really are. Thanks for coming to the I Am consciousness. You're back in the God state where you belong. This is the recognition that makes everything different. The door is open. Are you going to walk through?